Listen closely, because this moment did not arrive by accident. You didn't click on this message out of curiosity or coincidence. Something in your spirit recognized the sound before your mind could explain it. A quiet urgency pulled you here, as if an invisible hand gently but firmly said now. And that is because the waiting you've endured has reached its final breath. For a long time you have lived in the space between promise and fulfillment. Not because you were forgotten, not because you were delayed by mistake, but because you were being prepared in ways you could not yet see. You waited while others moved ahead. You watched doors open for people who did not carry your weight. You prayed prayers that seemed to echo back unanswered. And yet something inside you refused to die. A spark remained. A knowing stayed alive. That knowing is being activated right now. This is not just a message of comfort. This is an announcement. A shift is unfolding that will not ask for permission from the past. What held you in place is loosening its grip. What slowed you down is losing authority. The silence that once surrounded your prayers is breaking not gradually, but decisively. You may have thought the waiting season was shaping you through endurance alone, but it was also shaping timing. Heaven does not rush what carries weight, and you carry weight. You carry calling. You carry responsibility tied to destiny, not convenience. That is why your waiting felt heavier than most. That is why your delays felt personal. That is why your patience was tested at levels others never experienced. But hear this clearly. The season of waiting is not ending because you finally did enough. It is ending because the appointed time has arrived. What was withheld was not denied. It was protected. What was delayed was not refused. It was aligned. Something is about to make sense. The answer you have been asking for is not coming in fragments. It is coming whole. And when it arrives, it will explain the pressure, the loneliness, the restraint, and the closed doors. You will realize that nothing was wasted. Nothing was random. Nothing was late. Stay with this message. What is about to unfold will not only confirm what you felt in your spirit, it will prepare you to receive what God is releasing now. And the reason this moment feels different is because it is not being driven by emotion or imagination. What you are sensing right now is authority settling into place. This is not a human voice reaching for your attention. This is the weight of a divine decision reaching for your spirit. The one who formed you has been watching every step of your waiting with precision. Not from a distance, not casually, but with intention that never drifted and focus that never weakened. Every prayer you whispered when your strength was low was heard. Every tear you wiped away in silence was counted. Every time you chose obedience over escape, it was recorded. Nothing slipped past him. There were moments you thought heaven was quiet. Moments you wondered if your prayers were suspended somewhere between hope and disappointment. But what felt like silence was actually restraint. God was holding back what you asked for until it could arrive without harming you, without overwhelming you, without pulling you out of alignment. He was not delaying you. He was positioning you. The waiting season was not about proving your faith. It was about preparing your capacity. God knew what was coming next required maturity, discernment, and stability that could not be rushed. What he is releasing now carries responsibility, influence, and spiritual weight. If it had arrived earlier, it would have become pressure instead of purpose. So he took time with you. He allowed certain things to fall away, certain relationships to fade, certain paths to close. Not to isolate you, but to refine your hearing. In the quiet, your spirit learned how to recognize truth without noise. In the delay, your dependence shifted away from outcomes and toward trust. This is how heaven prepares vessels for increase. What is unfolding now is not sudden to God. It is scheduled. It has been moving toward this moment through prayers you prayed years ago, and faith you didn't even realize you were exercising. The alignment has been forming quietly beneath the surface, and now it has reached completion. That is why this message carries urgency without panic, why it feels weighty without fear, why it brings clarity instead of confusion. God is not announcing a possibility. He is declaring a release. He is inviting you to step out of the posture of waiting and into the posture of readiness. Not striving, not forcing, but responding. Responding to what He has already decided, already approved, already set in motion. As you continue listening, let your spirit remain open and settled. This is not a warning meant to unsettle you. It is an invitation meant to steady you. You are not about to be rushed. You are about to be guided. What comes next will confirm what your heart has quietly known all along. The waiting was never the end of the story. It was the preparation for what God is now ready to release. And now, as that preparation reaches its completion, the veil begins to lift. What has been forming quietly in the unseen is stepping into motion. This is the moment where waiting turns into response, where prayer turns into manifestation, where faith is met by movement. Here is what God is releasing. The answer you have been asking for is not coming in the way you rehearsed in your mind. It is coming in the way that frees you. You expected resolution through a single event, a clear outcome, a dramatic reversal. But God is answering you with alignment. He is shifting the environment around you so that what belongs to you can finally reach you without resistance. Picture a river that was once blocked by debris. The water did not disappear. It gathered pressure. It waited. And when the obstruction was removed, it did not trickle. It flowed with force and direction. That is what is happening now. The obstruction has been lifted. The prophecy is this: God is releasing momentum into areas where you experienced stagnation. Conversations that were delayed will happen naturally. Decisions that felt impossible will suddenly feel obvious. Opportunities that required chasing will begin to seek you out. Not because circumstances changed randomly, but because authority has shifted. You are entering a season where effort produces outcome, where obedience produces clarity, where movement produces confirmation. At first, the change may feel subtle. A door opens just enough to let light in. A connection forms without strain. A burden lifts without explanation. But soon the accumulation of these shifts will become undeniable. You will realize you are no longer pushing against invisible resistance. The atmosphere has changed. God is also releasing truth. Things that were hidden will come into focus. Motives will be revealed. Paths will become distinct. What once confused you will no longer hold power over you. Discernment will rise where doubt once lived. This prophecy is deeply personal because it touches the area where you felt the most pressure, the place where you questioned yourself, the place where you wondered if you were asking for too much or believing for too long. God has not forgotten that place. He has been guarding it. The answer is coming with timing that protects your peace. It will not arrive in chaos. It will not arrive in fear. It will arrive with clarity that settles your spirit and confirms your direction. There is also restoration involved, not just of outcomes, but of confidence. The waiting took a toll on how you saw yourself. You learned how to endure, but you also learned how to doubt your own timing. God is restoring your trust in yourself by aligning His timing with your obedience. This is why the prophecy carries both comfort and instruction. Comfort because what you hoped for is real. Instruction because what you receive must be stewarded. You will not need to announce this season to others. Its fruit will speak for itself. You will not need to defend the timing. Its peace will validate it. You will not need to rush. Momentum will meet you where you are. God is also closing a chapter, not harshly, gently. Certain struggles will lose relevance. Certain questions will stop demanding answers. Certain cycles will end quietly because their purpose has been fulfilled. And here is what you must hear clearly. This release does not mean you will never wait again. It means this waiting has ended. This specific season has completed its assignment in your life. You are not circling the same mountain anymore. You are moving forward. The prophecy is not that everything becomes easy. It is that everything becomes aligned. Effort will now cooperate with grace instead of fighting it. Faith will now produce fruit instead of frustration. Stay present. Stay grounded. The unfolding has begun. And beneath everything that is shifting on the surface, something deeper is being revealed. This moment is not only about what is changing around you, it is about what has already changed within you. The waiting season reshaped you in ways that only stillness can accomplish. While you were waiting for answers, God was forming capacity. Waiting is one of the most misunderstood spiritual seasons. People often see it as absence, as inactivity, as loss of momentum. But in the language of heaven, waiting is cultivation. It is the season where roots grow deeper than branches, where strength develops underground before it ever becomes visible above the surface. You are learning how to stand without constant reassurance, how to trust without immediate evidence, how to obey without applause. These lessons are not optional for destiny. They are essential. Anything released without this foundation would have demanded more than you could sustain. This is why divine timing matters so much. God does not measure readiness by desire. He measures it by stability. Desire wants the door open now. Stability knows how to walk through it without losing balance. During the waiting, God was stabilizing you. Storms came not to destroy you, but to test what was holding you upright. Silence followed prayers not to discourage you, but to sharpen your discernment. Delay showed up not to deny you, but to align every moving part connected to your calling. Because your destiny is not isolated. It intersects with people, places, assignments, and timing far beyond what you can see. Think of seasons in nature. Winter is not punishment for trees, it is protection. Growth pauses so strength can be preserved. Sap withdraws so the tree does not overextend and break. What looks like stillness is actually wisdom. And when spring comes, growth does not struggle, it responds. Your waiting season functioned the same way. God was teaching you the difference between movement and progress. You learned that not every step forward is advancement, and not every pause is delay. You learned how to listen before acting, how to discern before deciding how to trust guidance over impulse. This depth is what allows fulfillment to last. Light becomes meaningful because darkness taught you how to recognize it. Open doors become valuable because closed ones taught you patience. Calm becomes sacred because storms taught you endurance. These contrasts are not accidents. They are spiritual architecture. What is being released now is built on everything you survived. Nothing was wasted. Every moment of uncertainty refined your faith. Every unanswered prayer strengthened your trust. Every quiet obedience deepened your alignment. This is why the shift feels both relieving and sobering. Relief comes from knowing the pressure is lifting. Sobriety comes from realizing the weight of what you are stepping into. Destiny is not casual, it is sacred. And God does not hand sacred things to unprepared hands. You were not overlooked in the waiting, you were being entrusted. Now the season is turning. You are moving from formation into function, from preparation into participation, from endurance into expression, What was once internal is becoming external. What was once hidden is beginning to surface. And this transition asks something of you. It asks you to trust the process that shaped you, to honor the season that stretched you, to move forward without resentment toward the time it took. Because the waiting season did not delay your life. It preserved it. What comes next will make sense of what came before. The dots will connect. The pressure will explain itself. And the peace that settles in your spirit will confirm that you are exactly where you are meant to be. The season has shifted, not because you forced it, but because you were ready. As this shift settles into place, God often sends confirmation, not as thunder, but as rhythm. The signs come quietly at first, weaving themselves into your daily life until you realize something has undeniably changed. These confirmations are not meant to convince you. They are meant to steady you, to remind your spirit that what is unfolding is real and already in motion. One of the first signs is internal. A calm begins to replace the constant mental noise you carried for so long. You are still thoughtful, still discerning, but no longer anxious in the same way. Decisions that once drained you now feel lighter. You are no longer rehearsing every outcome in your mind. Peace is taking up space where pressure used to live. Another sign appears through alignment in conversation. You hear words echoed back to you that you never spoke out loud. People mention ideas, opportunities, or perspectives that confirm what you have been sensing privately. It feels as if your inner world and outer world are finally speaking the same language. You may also notice a change in timing. Things begin to happen with less resistance. Appointments line up. Delays dissolve without explanation. What once required chasing now flows naturally toward you. This is not luck. This is alignment responding to readiness. A fourth sign shows up in your discernment. You become more aware of what no longer belongs in this season. Certain habits lose their grip. Certain distractions lose their appeal. You find yourself releasing things without struggle, not because you are forcing discipline, but because your spirit has outgrown them. You may sense renewed motivation, but it is not frantic. It does not feel like pressure to catch up. It feels like steady momentum, a quiet desire to prepare, to organize, to make room. This is your spirit responding to what is coming, creating space before it arrives. Another confirmation often comes through rest. You sleep differently. Your body begins to release tension it has carried for too long. Even when circumstances are still unfolding, your nervous system calms. This is a sign that trust is replacing survival mode. Finally, there is a subtle but powerful shift in how you pray. Your prayers move from pleading to gratitude, from desperation to expectation. You find yourself thanking God in advance, not because everything is finished, but because you know it is underway. These signs may not arrive all at once. They come in waves, and each one whispers the same truth. You are not imagining this shift. You are not reaching for something that is not there. You are responding to what has already been released. Let these confirmations strengthen your faith, not rush your steps. They are markers along the path, reminding you that you are walking in sync with divine timing. The season has turned, and your life is beginning to reflect it. Even as the answer begins to unfold, it is important to understand that transition often brings subtle challenges. Not because something is wrong, but because movement exposes areas that still need balance. These challenges are not sent to stop you. They are allowed to strengthen how you respond to what God is releasing. One of the first challenges you may feel is the urge to rush. After waiting for so long, momentum can feel intoxicating. You may feel pressure to make quick decisions, to move faster than clarity allows to recover what you think was lost time. But haste does not honor alignment. What arrives in God's timing does not require you to sprint. Another challenge may surface as doubt trying to reintroduce itself. Even as things begin to shift, old questions may whisper again. Thoughts like, what if this doesn't last? Or what if I misread this? These thoughts are not prophecies. They are echoes of the waiting season. Recognize them, but do not partner with them. You may also encounter resistance through distraction rather than opposition. Invitations that pull your focus. Opportunities that look appealing but feel slightly misaligned. Conversations that drain rather than build. Not everything that opens in this season is meant for you. Discernment will be essential. There can also be emotional vulnerability. The waiting taught you how to protect yourself, how to guard your expectations. As fulfillment approaches, you may feel exposed, unsure how much to hope, how much to trust. This is normal. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is movement in spite of it. Some challenges may come through people who are not ready for the version of you that is emerging. As you step into alignment, your boundaries may shift. Your priorities may change. This can create discomfort not because you are wrong, but because growth alters dynamics. Understand this clearly. These challenges are not punishments. They are proof that something new is forming. They are invitations to apply what you learned in the waiting. Patience, discernment, trust. Do not interpret resistance as failure. Do not interpret hesitation as disobedience. Learn to pause without retreating. Learn to move without forcing. Every challenge in this season is asking one question. Will you trust God's pace as much as you trust His promise? Endure these moments with faith. You are not being tested to see if you are worthy. You are being trained to steward what is arriving. The same God who carried you through the waiting is guiding you through the transition. And now as the path opens in front of you, the focus shifts from endurance to obedience. Waiting required patience. This season requires discernment in motion. God is not calling you to move blindly or impulsively. He is calling you to move intentionally, guided by what has already been formed within you. The first instruction is release. Let go of what belongs to the previous season. Old disappointments, old coping mechanisms, old identities shaped by survival rather than purpose. You cannot carry yesterday's weight into today's assignment. What sustained you in waiting may hinder you in movement. The second instruction is attentiveness. God often speaks most clearly in subtle impressions. A nudge to reach out, a pause before responding, a sense of restraint or urgency without full explanation. Honor these impressions. Obedience does not always come with complete understanding, but it always produces alignment. The third instruction is order. This is a season to prepare practically as well as spiritually. Organize your time. Clarify your priorities. Create margin. God often releases increase into spaces that are ready to receive it. Preparation is an act of faith, not anxiety. Another instruction is to guard your inner environment. Peace is not optional in this season. It is protection. Not every voice deserves access. Not every opinion deserves influence. Choose conversations that strengthen your alignment, not ones that stir confusion. Silence can be sacred when clarity is forming. You are also instructed to act when clarity comes. Delayed obedience blurs discernment. When God opens a door and confirms it through peace, step forward with humility and courage. You do not need to know every outcome. You only need to know the next step. At the same time, learn the discipline of waiting within movement. This is not a contradiction. It means knowing when to advance and when to pause. Activity does not equal obedience. Obedience flows from listening. Another vital instruction is gratitude. Gratitude anchors you in trust. It shifts your posture from striving to receiving. Thank God not only for what has arrived, but for what is still unfolding. Gratitude keeps your heart open and your spirit receptive. Finally, remain grounded in prayer. Not desperate prayer, but relational prayer. Conversation rather than negotiation. Prayer in this season becomes alignment, not pleading. It centers you, clarifies you, and keeps your steps steady. These instructions are not meant to overwhelm you. They are meant to empower you. God is not placing a burden on your shoulders. He's inviting you into partnership. What He is releasing will not require you to become someone else. It will require you to be fully present as who you already are becoming. Move forward with confidence, but stay teachable. Step out with courage, but remain humble. Trust the pace that God sets even when momentum builds. This season is not about proving yourself. It is about stewarding what has been entrusted to you. As you step into what is being released, it is important to know that you are not moving uncovered. This transition does not expose you. It surrounds you. Divine protection is not something you must earn in this season. It is something already assigned to you. God goes before you, arranging what you cannot yet see. He removes obstacles before you ever encounter them. He softens resistance, redirects misalignment, and shields you from what would drain or distract you. Even when you do not feel it, protection is active. There is also protection behind you. What you are leaving cannot pursue you. Old cycles do not have permission to follow you forward. Past mistakes do not have authority over your future steps. The waiting season closed those doors for a reason. You are not meant to revisit them. Protection also surrounds your mind. Confusion does not get to dominate your thoughts. Fear does not get to steer your decisions. You are being guarded by peace that does not depend on circumstances. This peace acts as a boundary, keeping you grounded as change unfolds. You are also protected in your timing. You will not miss what belongs to you by moving too slowly, and you will not break alignment by moving too carefully. God's guidance adjusts your pace. When you need to pause, clarity will come. When you need to move, courage will rise. Even relationships are being filtered by protection. People who cannot honor your growth will naturally lose influence. Connections meant to support your purpose will strengthen without force. You are not required to defend these shifts. Protection handles what explanation cannot. This assurance is not meant to make you passive. It is meant to make you confident. When you know you are covered, you can move without fear. When you trust protection, you do not need to control outcomes. You are not walking into the unknown alone. You are walking into prepared ground. The same God who guided you through waiting is guiding you through fulfillment. Rest in this truth. Breathe in this peace. Let assurance steady your steps. And as the answer settles into place, something remarkable begins to happen. You start to recognize yourself again, but not as you were before the waiting. You recognize yourself as someone refined by time, strengthened by restraint, and steadied by trust. This season does not simply change your circumstances, it changes your posture. The fulfillment arriving now carries a quiet confidence. You no longer feel the need to prove what God has done in you. You move differently. You speak differently. You decide differently. There is less urgency to explain, and more peace in simply being present. What once felt fragile now feels anchored. The waiting shaped your character. The release reveals your capacity. You notice that your emotions no longer swing as wildly with outcomes. Hope has matured. Faith has stabilized. You are no longer driven by desperation for results. You are guided by alignment with purpose. This is transformation at work. Fulfillment does not erase the memory of waiting. It redeems it. You begin to see how every moment of uncertainty prepared you to steward what is now in your hands. You are grateful not only for what you receive, but for who you became while waiting for it. There is also a deep sense of clarity. You understand what matters and what does not. Distractions lose their pull. Comparison loses its voice. You are not racing against anyone else's timeline. You are walking in step with your own calling. The fulfillment you step into is not loud, but it is powerful. It carries peace instead of pressure, stability instead of chaos, purpose instead of performance. You are not chasing validation anymore. You are responding to assignment. This transformation also affects how you see others. You become more compassionate, more discerning, more patient. You understand that everyone is moving through seasons you cannot see. The waiting taught you empathy. The fulfillment allows you to extend it. There is joy here, but it is not reckless. It is grounded. It is the joy of knowing you are aligned, protected, and guided. It is the joy of trusting that what unfolds next will be met with grace. You also begin to recognize that fulfillment is not a finish line. It is a foundation. What God has released now prepares you for what comes next. Not with fear, but with readiness. You are no longer intimidated by growth. You welcome it. Gratitude fills the space where anxiety once lived. Expectation replaces uncertainty. You are present in the moment without losing sight of the future. This balance is one of the greatest gifts of the waiting season. You are not overwhelmed by what lies ahead. You are prepared. This is the fruit of alignment. This is the reward of patience. This is the transformation that comes when timing and obedience meet. You are ready to carry what God has placed in your life now. And you are ready to walk forward with confidence, rooted in trust. And now, before you move forward, let this moment settle deeply into your spirit. This is not a place of rushing. It is a place of sealing. What has been spoken is not meant to pass through you quickly. It is meant to take root, to anchor you as you step into what God is releasing. Take a breath and allow these affirmations to rise within you. Speak them aloud if you can, or let them form quietly in your heart. I release the weight of waiting and step into divine alignment. I trust God's timing and respond with obedience and peace. I receive what is being released with gratitude and wisdom. I walk forward covered, guided, and prepared. Let these words become more than statements. Let them become posture. Let them shape how you move, how you decide, how you trust. Now may peace rest on you in a way that cannot be explained by circumstance. May clarity guard your thoughts and steady your steps. May courage rise in you when movement is required, and patience surround you when waiting is still needed in small ways. May every door God has prepared open at the right moment. May every path align beneath your feet. May what no longer belongs fall away gently without struggle or regret. You are not stepping into uncertainty alone. You are stepping into prepared ground. What God has released will meet you with grace. What He has promised will unfold with wisdom. May your heart remain soft, your spirit remain alert, and your faith remain anchored. May gratitude overflow as each piece falls into place. This season marks a turning point, not because everything changes at once, but because everything begins to move in the right direction. Carry this peace with you. Carry this assurance with you. Carry this expectation with you. The waiting has fulfilled its purpose. The answer has been released. And you are ready to walk forward. Amen.